In 1970, the Tate and LaBianca trial begins, and Charles Manson captures the dark imagination of a country searching for answers.
I think that anyone who's read anything about this case would know that this is a streetwise con who found something different because of the times. But because it was the 60s and because it was the time of drugs, he found a way to manipulate people. And it was the ultimate manipulation.
The Haight-Ashbury district, a 40-block, deteriorating, low-rent area of San Francisco, began to emerge in January of 1966 as a mecca of the hippies. In their own words, those who are turned on and tuned in.
2 years before the murders, in the summer of 1967, San Francisco was the place to be. Kids from around the country flocked to the epicenter of the counterculture movement, looking for free love, free drugs, and freedom from society's expectations.
The view was you had to deprogram your mind from all the corrupting, racist, materialistic, anti-human values of the dominant culture and participate in this counterculture.
We just wanted something different and new, and we thought if we just loved each other, it could solve all the problems of the world.
The changing cultural paradigm in the Haight is worlds away from Manson's reality of guards and prison politics.
He was diminutive, 5 feet 2 inches tall, so the reports on him from prison is that he was always seeking to ingratiate himself with his co-inmates because he had this low self-esteem.
By 1966, Manson had spent more than half his life behind bars. He describes a life without purpose.
I was doing hard time. My life, my mind, was being mutilated by concrete and steel. I was fed up with being the individual prisons had made me. I was 27 years old, but my education was about a 4th grade level. It was a struggle, but I began reading and studying in myself. I took a look at everything. I began paying attention to individuals. I read whatever books I could find that dealt with mind development. I became obsessed with music. I felt confident and positive when I entertained. Everything seemed to fall into place for me. Through this and my other studies, I came out of my state of depression. I was getting close to the end of my sentence. Warped as it may sound, I had become very happy and content there. Thoughts of leaving brought back the feelings of inferiority I had studied so hard to master. I was afraid of trying to cope in a world that I had never understood. Some mighty big changes had taken place since the last time I was on the streets. My prison education, the years of conniving, conning, and devious ways put me a step ahead of most people living in the districts. At that time, I was not into controlling anyone or being controlled. My trip was being free.
I'm sure it just blew his mind that, he walked out in ex-con that couldn't get a good job if he told anybody he was an ex-con, and he was just accepted by these young kids. He was a little different, so what? Everyone's different.
The youth culture's growing sense of alienation is fueled by a series of assassinations that destroy the promise of peaceful change. Manson finds his voice with a generation of kids in search of a leader in what had become leaderless times.
He also said things to them that appealed to them. He spoke about the Vietnam War, poor kids are fighting a rich man's war. He spoke about the preservation of wildlife. He was a lot older than they were, but that was not a disadvantage. I'll tell you why. They viewed him as a person of a lot of wisdom, and they thought they could learn a lot from him.
That summer, as drug addiction and homelessness take over the hate, Manson takes control.
Manson claims he foresaw the decline of the hate. Kids were ODing out in the street. He said the man is going to end the party here, the man being the establishment, the authorities. So they get themselves on a bus, start traveling up and down the West Coast, their lifestyle, sex orgies, LSD trips.
Those first few weeks in my new van were among the happiest of my entire life. For the first time in my 33 years, I was current with fads and lifestyles. I wasn't a misfit. I drove where I was sure to find people wandering around in search of a friend and direction in life. Those people, mostly kids, were searching for something or simply escaping from homes where they were abused or neglected or felt unwanted. All my years in prison had opened my mind up to everything those kids wanted. Be your own person. Love yourself, but let go of your ego. My philosophy was accepted by almost all who listened. I had the answers.
When you grow up being institutionalized so many times, you don't get a chance to acquire intimate relationships with parent figures. Manson didn't have a family until he created his own with young people in the counterculture. He gained something that he never had with others, and that was a bond, a relationship.
His ability to win followers had to do with the fact that he chose young people, women mainly, who were at a very vulnerable stage of their lives. They were runaways, they were alienated in one way or another, and they saw him as their savior. He was very effective in changing what had been nice girls into killers.